Hey everyone, here we go with another college football Saturday update, Vegas Top Dogs YouTube channel. This week I have our top expert in college and NFL action to break down college football, Jesse Schule. How are you this week, Jesse?
Feeling pretty good, Tony. Coming off a perfect 8-0 week with college and pros combined. I feel very fortunate. You don't ever sweep the board unless you get a little bit of luck on your side, of course. Hopefully, there's some skill involved, and hopefully, we can carry that over to next weekend.
Yeah, nothing wrong with going perfect 8-0. Wow. That's an excellent week, and I'm sure our viewers are looking forward to see who you like this week. And we're going to break down some college football action for Saturday.
How'd you do this weekend, Tony?
Another good week in college. I won an NFL too, but college, I think I'm ranked number 2. I went 3-1-1 with my selections. So I'm looking forward to another college football Saturday. I'm getting a good read on the college football games and excited about the slate for this week. A lot of big top 25 action.
I saw that you're still ahead of me on the leaderboards, and I wanted to let you know not to get too comfortable there because that gap is being narrowing week by week.
Hey, I welcome a challenge. I'm also trying to catch you in the weight room too to get up to 18 reps at 225.
Sounds good. Sounds
So
good.
who do you like this week in college football? You have a few. You have a side and a total for us this week, don't you?
Well, there's two big games that I bet on last week, and I'm going against the loser in each of those two big games. We'll start with the Notre Dame Ohio State game. Crushing defeat for Notre Dame. It looked like they should have won that game. They couldn't hang on to that late lead. And when you have situations like this where teams suffer these heartbreaking losses, there's different trains of thought. So in some cases, you want to get them in a bounce back situation where they're going to get back on track. But there's also the dream crusher scenario where it's such a bad loss and it impacts the rest of their season so significantly that basically they can't achieve their goals that they set out for themselves based on that loss. And you got to wonder if this is a dream crusher scenario for Notre Dame. And aside from that, I just like Duke. I liked Duke coming into this year. I know a lot of the experts said this Duke team's a fraud. Yeah, they won 9 games last year, but they had a soft schedule. A lot of guys that I have a ton of respect for said, expect regression from Duke. They enjoyed a turnover margin in their favor, pretty significant turnover margin last year. And the train of thought was you can't handicap turnovers, so that's not sustainable. But there are coaches out there that, coach their defense in a way that their defense continues to force turnovers. And that has carried over to this season. And Duke kind of smashed that narrative when they kicked the snot out of Clemson in week 1, 28-7. This Duke defense under Mike Elko is the real deal. Duke is a threat. I mean, Duke can win this game outright. 5.5 isn't a ton of points, so I'm going to focus on the total. I do like Duke. I have given out Duke on other shows. I think the total might be the better bet, though, because I think Duke's defense is that good. And I think Notre Dame comes in here with an advantage. I think they'll still be able to run the ball. But if Notre Dame wants to come out and throw the ball, they're going to put themselves at risk. Like I said, the turnover margin, sack, fumbles, interceptions, you don't want that. So it would be a little bit irresponsible, I think, for Notre Dame to come in throwing the ball a little too often. And I expect both teams to play strong defense. The total's been bet up to 52. And with both teams pounding the rock and both defenses playing well, I won't be surprised if this falls well short of the total of 52. So the pick for this game is on the under. You want me to go right into the next Dream Crusher scenario?
What's the current total on that Duke game?
It was 52. I believe it opened at around 50, 51, and it's been bet up a little bit since.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that. All right. I know the next matchup we have different opinions, but let's hear what you have on Syracuse and Clemson.
Well, like I said, you have a team like Notre Dame, like Clemson. They lose that big game. And for Clemson, it really is a dream crusher because they did lose to Duke, and then they lose to Florida State last week, and they're not going to the playoffs. They're not winning the ACC this year. Clemson's still a really good team, but asking them to beat this Syracuse team by more than a touchdown, it hasn't happened. It just simply hasn't happened. Syracuse always plays Clemson tough. I don't know if you remember last year, Syracuse went on the road at Death Valley. It was 21-10 at halftime. I believe there was no points scored in the third quarter, so Syracuse took that 21-10 lead into the fourth quarter. Clemson scores 17 unanswered, wins the game, but doesn't cover. And one of the things about that game was Syracuse was banged up. Sean Tucker suffered a knee injury. The quarterback, Garrett Schrader, was injured to the point where they weren't comfortable running the ball with him on short yardage situations. And that prevented them from being able to run out the clock in the fourth quarter. The benefit that Syracuse has this year, they're kind of catching Clemson off of a bad loss, but also Syracuse has had a rather soft schedule that has allowed them to stay relatively healthy. Now they are missing one key piece, their stud wide receiver, which is kind of like a hybrid tight end wide receiver, Oronde Gadsden, huge weapon for them. But I think a healthy Garrett Schrader could be the difference here. And Syracuse's defense is playing quite well. Clemson, like I said, it's that dream crusher spot for Clemson. And Syracuse has covered the spread in 5 of the last 6 head-to-head meetings. I'll take the 7 points with the orange at home. And Tony's going to tell you why that's a bad idea.
Well, hey, that's your opinion. I have a different read on the game. We'll let our viewers decide who to go with. Before I get to my selection and my analysis, make sure you like, subscribe, give us that thumbs up. Smash that like button, subscribe, thumbs up. You'll be notified each and every time we have a new video. Also, make sure to go to VegasTopDogs.com. Get your winning free picks, articles, and our premium selections each and every day. VegasTopDogs.com. In that matchup, it's probably the first time in a while Clemson hasn't been ranked. But I'd like them to bounce back. Everything I've heard is they had 2 losses. Their season's over. If you're going to get 2 losses, you want them to be early in the season. They still have top 25 matchups left on their schedule against Notre Dame, Miami of Florida, and North Carolina. So if they can knock off an undefeated Syracuse team, that's another notch they could add here. I think the Clemson defense is for real. Syracuse is 4-0, but they played Army, Purdue, Western Michigan, and Colgate. So very easy schedule. They do have a dual threat quarterback, which worries me. I think the Clemson defense will keep them in check. I think Clemson will bounce back after that overtime loss last week. So I think this was where Clemson gets it done, gets back on track, and they have 3 more top 25 matchups on their schedule where they can kind of climb back into things. I'm going to play Clemson -7 on the road at Syracuse.
Yeah, that strength of schedule is where we sort of have differing opinions, and I agree. Syracuse has had a soft schedule this year, but I'm sort of relying on what I've seen from them in past head-to-head meetings, I guess.
Right. Yeah, Syracuse has played them tough over the years, and we'll see what happens. The game will probably end up 7 and result in a push.
I was thinking the same thing. Pushes all the way around.
All right. My other game I like, it is a totals play, and it's a low total, and it's low for a reason. Michigan and Nebraska under 39. I think we have 2 great defenses going head-to-head here. Michigan likes to run the ball. All 4 games this year, they've rushed for over 130 yards. They had 201 versus Rutgers, 170 Bowling Green, 180 UNLV. That tells me they're getting first downs. They're moving the chains. They're not a big score type of team. They don't score fast. With the new rules this year, clock doesn't stop on a first down. So Michigan, long drives. They eat up the clock. Not a quick scoring team. They're slowing the tempo. I think Nebraska, they've played very good defense this year. Every game except the second half against Colorado. Nebraska's tough at home. I think you're going to see a lot of punts in this game. And I think with Nebraska only allowing 5.5 points per game, Michigan not allowing much either. I think they're 5.6 points per game. I think this game goes under 39. It's low for a reason. Expect a lot of punts here and take the under 39 points between Michigan and Nebraska. That's my best bet totals play here on the Vegas Top Dogs YouTube video.
Yeah, Tony, they say when you see these numbers below 40, they're low for a reason, and these low totals tend to go under at a pretty alarming rate. And we know that Nebraska is just so bad on offense that you wouldn't expect them to score many points here against Michigan.
Absolutely. I think this is definitely a solid underplay. I mean, it's 17, so I don't see Nebraska scoring much. It could end up 21-3, 27-10. I think either way it stays under the total. So make sure you guys go to VegasTopDogs.com. We have NFL and college football action on Thursday. There's actually 3 college football games on Thursday, 4 more on Friday, and then a full slate of college football Saturday. So check out all the free picks, all the articles, all the premium plays at VegasTopDogs.com. Check out what Jesse has. Check out what I have. I'll have my picks loaded probably later today or tomorrow. And check out the hot cappers at VegasTopDogs.com. Jesse, I appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your knowledge with our viewers.
Thanks for having me, Tony, and looking forward to another big weekend at Vegas Top Dogs.
Absolutely. Let's see if you could duplicate that 8-0 week that you had last weekend. All right. Thanks for joining us. As always, guys, good luck and be a winner.